One of those games, Dead by Daylight, has seen a large increase of creeps and characters since its initial introduction in 2016 and is now swiftly becoming the B-movie monster of the week. 4 survivors are pitted against one killer in this Behavior Interactive Incorporated horror film, who is determined to find them all before they can flee. The creepy characters in this game are where it really excels. To mention a few, there's Nemesis from Resident Evil, Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, Ghostface from Scream, Freddy Krueger, and even the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. For aficionados of vintage horror films and TV monsters, this game is a must-have because there are so many different crossover creatures to play with. A great horror game puts you at that constant state of anxiety where you don't know when it's coming. GTFO definitely succeeds in doing that in spades. A good horror game can pull off a well-timed scare. In a series of pitch-black underground laboratories, 10 Chambers early access hardcore first-person co-op pits you and 3 of your buddies against endless waves of monsters. The objective is to enter, acquire important data, and then escape unscathed from the sound-sensitive monsters that prowl every dim, foggy corridor. Every session in GTFO is a high-stress, suspenseful circumstance that will test the limits of your collaborative skills. Grab 3 buddies and check out the Blackout Club if you've ever thought of yourself as an amateur investigator. Through a series of procedurally generated missions, you must discover the hideous truth beneath a little town in this co-op survival horror game. Run from the Shape, a menacing force that pursues you continually and which you can only see by closing your eyes. Avoid sleepwalking townspeople, make use of special skills and traps, and avoid possessed people. You and your mystery-solving team will find it to be a revitalizing and narratively driven game that offers a lot of replayability. This 6-player zombie-slaying first-person shooter from Tripwire Interactive is what you need if zombie-killing catharsis is what you're pursuing. In Killing Floor 2, your only objective is to survive while fending off waves of mutants, zombies, and other enormous lumbering monsters. You and your pals should be able to quickly dispatch any mutations that come your way, thanks to the variety of special classes, perks, and weaponry at your disposal. Additionally, there is plenty of opportunity for multiplayer monster mayhem in the game's 12-player versus survival mode. Sign of Silence is a game worth taking into consideration if you find the woodland to be a scary place at night. Following a vehicle crash, you and your pals must use all means necessary to live and leave the little town of Danville in this 4-player survival cooperative game. On a rather large map are a multitude of hostile cultists and horrifying beasts that stand in your way. Sign of Silence is a terrifying journey that you can undertake alone or with company. It has several ways to get out and mysteries to learn about what happened in this remote hamlet. It's time to go tomb raiding, but not in the sense that you would think of it. Put on your pith helmet and turn on your headlamps. Forewarned by Dreambyte Games has a more archaeological approach. Picture Rachel Weisz in The Mummy. Although there are many mummies to defeat, it's not simply one. Forewarned is similar to Phasmophobia in that it makes use of the same concepts and mechanics, but adds a few more intriguing changes to the tried and true ghost hunting squad formula. A curveball is thrown in the form of traps that can kill you, treasure to loot, and a fun mummy mode for players that get murdered by whatever shambling bandaged corpse you get paired up against. You and your friends are still exploring procedurally generated tombs and tunnels to find evidence of what you're up against with gear that can be unlocked over time. This early access gem has some weak spots, but it has a lot of excellent concepts and room to expand, so it's worth watching at the very least. And it's VR compatible. Since its first release in 2019, Pacify has been around. Recent improvements have transformed it from another one of those spooky multiplayer games set in a haunted house into a nightmare-inducing, tight cooperation game that's a blast to play with friends. The objective of Pacify, which is set inside a creepy funeral parlor, is to tame a monster by igniting toys in a furnace so that you can escape without dying. Sounds easy enough, but with 3 different monsters to deal with in 3 different tasks that get harder the longer you live, it can actually be rather suspenseful and terrifying. No matter how many times you see the monster models, they never fail to frighten you, and with solo, co-op, and a PvP mode available, Pacify offers plenty to keep you busy. Bigfoot by Cyberlight Game Studio has recently sprung back onto the indie horror scene with a brand new appearance, despite its difficult beginning in 2017. This early access 4-player co-op survival horror game, in which you search for Bigfoot, is suspenseful and full of terrific cryptid hunting features. It presents a respectable challenge for a bunch of pals. As you're entrusted with eliminating the infamous upright ape, the gameplay is taught in horror. As you set up traps and cameras in order to capture this enigmatic beast, the level is located in a deep, absolutely enormous backwoods forest environment that forces you to examine every shadow and jump at every twig snap. The large boy actively pursues you, dispatching lone players in a matter of seconds, and when he's not charging you, he's lurking in the background and roaring at you. Grab a gun and head out there since Bigfoot is scheduled to leave early access before the end of 2021, and the devs have promised that more content and maps will be added once the game is fully released. One of those games that kind of simply arrived out of nowhere and instantly became popular is Devour. This 4-player cooperative horror game from Straight Back Games has received nothing but the love of the indie multiplayer horror game community, making it look like the hottest game to watch. While it's a warning for arachnophobes, playing this game for a short time may make you want to escape from your computer. You and your buddies must defeat a bunch of possessed cultists who are determined to sacrifice you to their demonic lord Azazel in this unusual survival game. The gameplay is difficult but fair to those who have good collaboration skills. The maps are appropriately dark and ominous, and no 2 games are the same because things, ritual objects, and closed doors are randomly generated. It's a perpetual race against time to escape before the spider-spewing fanatics pull you to hell with them, because the difficulty increases the longer you live. It sounds simple to get into an abandoned high school with your friends and steal the answers to a test that will soon be given. In this highly entertaining and spooky survival horror game from Manic Mice, it seems like the local lunch lady would disagree. You could claim that Slender invented the simple idea, but this creative team has given it its own diabolical twist. Lunch Lady is set in a cartoonish all-American high school. While its deserted hallways and quiet classrooms may be eerie, they are nothing compared to the resident caterer, who is a genuine source of fear. This hulking woman pursues you relentlessly, searching hallway after corridor while shrieking like a monster out of this world. Rounds are kept stressful and relatively brief because you need to discover 10 exam answers to escape and have little to no other option but to run from her. Lunch Lady is a sleeper smash you don't want to miss, with new characters and improvements frequently being added. When you play horror games with a friend, the need to rely on them when things get tense and unpleasant may often make things even scarier. Some horror games can be downright horrifying when played alone. Numerous fantastic multiplayer horror games have recognized the potential for thrilling and terrifying moments in the paranoia of needing to depend on someone else for assistance when things really start to go south. There are many of them, and each one has the power to make you tremble and make your entire house ring with screaming. Despite the fact that it can frequently be challenging to identify the gems among the massive amounts of copy-paste clones, there are some excellent ones that are worth checking out. Here are some of the top horror games available for multiplayer play, keeping that in mind.